Hello, I will told you the latest news today. For Trump world, the focus shifts to next year's Nobel Peace Prize. The public push to make Donald Trump the winner of the 2026 Nobel Peace Prize began within hours of the committee's announcement Friday that the honoree this year is Maria Corina Machado, the Venezuelan opposition leader. Snubbed by the Nobel Selection Committee, Trump should be the clear frontrunner for the prize next year, given the breakthrough he reached toward ending the war in Gaza, his supporters said. Republic. Buddy Carter, Republican Georgia, said Friday he would introduce a resolution in Congress saying Trump deserves the honor. Jason Miller, a former senior Trump campaign official, told NBC News, "The legacy of the Nobel Peace Prize will be irreparably damaged if it isn't awarded to President Trump in 2026. The voices calling for President Trump to win the Nobel Peace Prize in 2026 are only going to get louder. Few voices were louder than Trump's in making the case that he'd earned the award this year. The president mounted a rare public campaign to win it based on 7 peace deals he says he reached in global hotspots. He is inching closer to an 8th. A whirlwind bout of US-led diplomacy has culminated in a ceasefire in Gaza. Hamas militants may release the remaining hostages early next week. And Trump plans to fly to the region this weekend to sign the accord and deliver a speech to the Israeli parliament. Trump has long said he didn't expect the 5-member Norwegian selection committee to give him the award. The betting markets saw it the same way. Early this week, Polymarket, a prediction betting site, had put his odds of winning at 2%. The deadline for nominating people for the Nobel Prize was January 31st to 11th days into Trump's new term. Still, the committee was free to consider accomplishments that came later in the year as it winnowed down the candidates, said Nina Grieger, director of the Peace Research Institute Oslo, who handicaps the top candidates for the prize. But he believed it would be advantageous to strike the Middle East peace deal before the committee revealed the winner. A person who has been in meetings with him said. That way, Trump could make the argument that the committee process was rigged. A president who ended so many conflicts rightly should have gotten the award that celebrates peace, this person said. Shortly after the winner was announced, Stephen Chung, the White House communications director, posted on social media that the Nobel Committee proved they place politics over peace. Much can happen in a year's time. If the peace deal in Gaza doesn't hold, if the fighting resumes and more Gazans die in the crossfire, Trump isn't likely to get credit for raising false hopes that peace was at hand, foreign policy analysts say. The committee will want to see if the peace deal that Trump describes as an historic triumph is real or ephemeral. A second issue is whether the America First president chooses to work more collaboratively with other nations over the coming year. In creating the prize, Swedish inventor and entrepreneur Alfred Nobel held that the winner should be someone who has done the most or the best work for fraternity between nations. Among other criteria. It doesn't help Trump's chances that he threatened to acquire Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal, analysts said. Nor is the committee likely to reward him for pulling out of such cross-border endeavors as the Paris Climate Agreement or the World Health Organization. They said. Kjær Aas, Norway's former ambassador to the US, said that Trump would be a strong contender for the prize if he ends the Russia-Ukraine and the Israel-Hamas wars. Still, the president wouldn't be a shoo-in. He added. Trump's statements about absorbing Greenland and Canada would also be considered by the committee, Aas said. The committee doesn't necessarily give him the Nobel Peace Prize if there's peace in Gaza and Ukraine next year. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for the latest news.